Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Let's Chat Reality. I'm Michael,
And I'm Molly.
and we are here today to talk episode 4 of Survivor 50, one that was filled with Zac Brown, music. You know, your mileage might vary on that, but still gave us a lot to talk about. So we are excited to get into it all. And we are here today with someone who we just spent a lot of time with in LA last week and excited to get her thoughts on this season. It's our friend Hope Raifer. Hope, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you guys?
Great.
Good. Excited to have you here. Now, we like to start off all of our podcasts with new guests with getting your reality TV origin story. So, Hope, what was something like if you remember the show or the episode that you watched that just kind of got you sucked into this world?
So it's funny because growing up, I wanted to watch Big Brother because I heard people at school talking about it, but my mom wouldn't let me watch reality TV. She didn't like it. So unfortunately, my origin story is kind of funny, I guess. I started watching season 16 of Big Brother when Frankie Grande was on it because I'm a huge Ariana Grande fan and had to go support him. And just fell in love with the show, fell in love with the strategy, started watching Survivor from there, and honestly, I like Survivor more now.
That season 16 of Big Brother is such a like common entry point. I feel like for so many people, whether it's just because of Frankie Grande or just like I hear so many people that that was their entry point, which is so interesting. But I agree with you. I think that, I always say Big Brother is the show that I get more invested in, but Survivor's the better show.
I'd have to agree with that, yes.
Well, so Survivor 50, of course, is what we're here to talk about today. What have your thoughts been? We're 4 episodes in now, about a third of the way into the season. What have your thoughts been so far on the season?
I think the season has brought a lot of joy to me. Um, I think it's been really well produced, really well run. Just it brought back the love of Survivor to me, and I know a lot of other people that were kind of losing the love. And just seeing returning players, not hearing sob stories, like I don't know, things like that. It just makes you fall in love with the show again.
Yeah, I think something that I was saying when we were in LA was that I feel like they got the tone of this season so perfect. It feels celebratory. It feels like they brought the fun of it back. And I think that, it's funny because that's something that Mike White famously said to Jeff Probst, like, when you're thinking of twists or whatever, like, is that fun? Where's the fun in it? And so I think that they did a really good job with the tone this season. Molly, just kind of a check in with you.
Yeah.
We've talked every week about it, but yeah, how are you feeling now that we're getting further into it?
Yeah, I still have been loving this season. Like echoing what you guys just said, I feel like it's just bringing back what we love about Survivor, and I love that we get to see so many returning players. I mean, everyone is returning player, but like everyone that we love, obviously, there are people that we wanted to see that maybe didn't get on the season, but I feel like everyone's kind of forgetting about that at this point. It's like, oh, we do like the people who are here, and it's a fun season of strategy and blind sides and all that. So it's been good.
It has. Well, let's get into the episode then. So we pick up after last night's tribal council where Q went home. Stephanie was the only one out of the loop for that vote. And Angelina thinks that Stephanie, because of that, will be the next target. However, Ozzy is spearheading a plan to take out Angelina in an effort to break up the David versus Goliath trio and become Mike White's number one. So, Molly, do you think that Ozzy is trying to get close to Mike because he actually values him as an ally and trusts him? Or is this a little bit of a ploy to get a cameo on the White Lotus?
I mean, I think anyone would want to be on the White Lotus, so maybe a slight reason at that. But I don't know. I can't see right through his brain. But I think in general, yeah, like that's a good reason. But I do think strategy wise, like, yeah, he knows how close the David and Goliath trio is, that he also sees it as an opportunity to like propel himself in the game as well if he's able to stay closer to Mike himself. So I see it in both ways there.
Yeah. Hope, do you think that that actually would work in Ozzy's favor to when you take out someone's like number one and you kind of then slide in there as his number one. Do you think that actually would work, or would that make Mike resent Ozzy for taking out someone who Mike valued as an ally?
Honestly, it could go either way, I'd say. It depends how he'd want to play the game moving forward. Because obviously, if that person knows they took out his number one, like, there's going to be some bad blood there. But if he's able to hide it really well and just, like, suck up to that person and, like, make that move, then he could probably, like, make that person his number one and go from there. But honestly, it just depends how it plays out.
Yeah. I always feel like that's such a dangerous way to go about it. It is just to like to take out somebody's number one and think that you're gonna then just easily slide in there. Like it's such a tricky maneuvering there because it's like, do you want the credit for making that move, or do you want then like, but if you get the credit for it, then you're going to also get the resentment from that person. So it's like it's a tricky thing. But yeah, I mean, I think that I don't I don't resent Ozzy for wanting to take out one of the trio. Like they're half of the tribe at this point. It's like it does make sense to want to take out one of those numbers, especially before merge, where then you're going into merge with like all of your allies still there. So I think that it makes sense for Ozzy to want to do that, but it's just going to be a really tricky move.
Yeah.
Well, then we go over to Genevieve, who finds another Billie Eilish boomerang idol. Now, Hope, let's just, before we talk about what she does with it, what do you think about the fact that Genevieve has now found two idols and can't keep either of them for herself, thanks to Miss William Eyelash?
I feel horrible for Genevieve. Like, you found two idols, you went out, you did that, and then you can't even keep them to save yourself unless the person you give it to gets voted out of the game. Like, that has to suck. Like, I'm sorry. That's horrible.
It really is because, like, Molly, I don't think this has ever happened before. That somebody in the first four episodes has found two idols and yet doesn't get anything for it, at least yet.
I know, it's crazy. I really feel for Genevieve here, but maybe one of these idols will come back to her. But it's frustrating for her, I'm sure, even though she seems to be like happy she's finding another one. Like I was like, why is she still so happy about this? But I think, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting that like she has found two and now can't keep either.
Yeah, it's like I when we first found out what the idol twist was this season with the Billie Eilish thing. First of all, I didn't realize that every idol was going to be that way. I thought like, oh, there's going to be a Billie Eilish idol, and then the next person's going to find like the Zac Brown idol, and then the next person's going to find the Mr. Beast idol. Like I thought that's how all of these guest things like were going to happen. I guess I didn't realize that. Oh no, all the idols are Billie Eilish, and then the other celebrity guests do other things. So I don't know that how I feel about every idol being played out this way this season. I was more high on it, I think, before I realized that, oh no, this is like just how the idols are this year.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm surprised that they're still doing this too. Are they gonna change it at some point? I mean, once they merge, like they can't just like have someone be able to hand it to another tribe. So maybe that's when it's gonna stop. But they're doing a lot of boomerangs right now.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
many
No, I guess
idols
they
are out
do.
there? There's like three, four, three, I'd say, right?
Yeah, three right now that have been given out because we have two from Genevieve and then one from Christian to Aubrey. So I think those are the three that. So I guess are those the three?
They might
Yeah,
be just the three
Yeah.
boomerang, and then come
I
merge,
guess
they'll
so.
be a regular idol.
They'll be a regular. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, that's probably right. But hey, I guess it just kind of worked out unfortunately that the same person found two of them, which really sucks. So hopefully Genevieve will get something back from that because if not, if she just gets voted out and doesn't have an pre-merge and doesn't have an idol because of all this, I will say she's one of the most screwed players in Survivor history potentially. She's on that list.
Yeah.
But she decides to give this second one to Rizzo because she thinks that Rizzo is likely to be targeted soon, assumedly because he is a new player, mystery to everybody because they haven't seen his season yet. Molly, we know how Rizzo plays with an idol and how he is willing to keep that idol as long as he possibly can without using it, thanks to his 49 performance. What do you think of Genevieve's decision here to give it to Rizzo?
Yeah, I feel like maybe production told her something about Rizzo playing with his idol because I was like, well, or I don't know. I mean, I feel like it was like also good timing that we were just seeing all this stuff with Charlie not liking Rizzo and like maybe targeting him. So I feel like she wouldn't know that necessarily of like that side of it. So maybe she did have some intel, but maybe not. I don't know. She's just smart and can figure out that Rizzo might be going home soon. But I think with Rizzo having an idol, it'll be fun to see how he uses it or pretends to use it, and and then doesn't actually, just has it in his pocket the whole time and not actually having to use it. But we'll see because I think this season is obviously a much different season than he played in 49. So I feel like he actually might feel like he needs to use it more than when he didn't have to in 49. So I think with that, it'll be interesting to see if he's able to use it correctly here, and or if not, then Genevieve will get it back.
Yeah, Hope, do you think that Rizzo is going to kind of use the same strategy that he did with his idol in 49, is using it as like, everyone knows I have it and nobody's going to do anything about it because they're too scared I'm going to play it. And then it really worked out for him there. But do you think he's going to try that same strategy here? And if he does, do you think it's going to work out as well as it did before?
The problem with trying that strategy in season 50 is that we have all returning players, so they know the game, they're more knowledgeable, they're smarter. Like, instead of just having new players who are like, oh, he has an idol, let's not vote him so someone else goes home type of thing. So he can totally, I would see him doing the same gameplay, but I don't see it working out for him in the long run.
Yeah, I fear for Rizzo because I mean we know Charlie's out to get him, and that does worry me a bit because he has no idea how badly Charlie wants him out. As far as we know, at least, like nobody has informed Rizzo that Charlie is out to get him yet. I don't know if anyone knows or if he's only said it in confessionals, but yeah, that worries me a bit that Rizzo's just kind of be like, oh, I have all the time in the world with this idol. And then Charlie's behind his back going to make a move to get him out as soon as they go to tribal for the first time. So we will see how that plays out. So they all go over to the reward/immunity challenge. And before they start, Jeff brings out Zac Brown, and he comes out, talks about how big of a Survivor fan he is, and how special it is for him to be there. Molly, do you believe him that he is a Survivor fan?
I don't know. I feel like with all of the like confessionals and everything that he got on this, I was like, maybe there's a part of him, or maybe he just watched one episode and was like, I'm gonna do exactly that. But I'm not sure like how much of a fan he is. Like, obviously he knows Survivor, but like how deep is he in the community? Like, probably not that deep. But I feel like it was an interesting move here. I didn't want to see as much Zac Brown as we saw here.
Yeah. Hope. I mean, we got a lot of Zac Brown in this episode. A lot of screen time was devoted to him. He got more confessionals than Suri did in this episode. What did you think when he walked out and kind of discovering what his role was here, that he was going to be the reward?
Honestly, I laughed. I don't know if, like, it was just like, why are we having Zac Brown fish? Why is he going out and we're having a segment on watching this man fish for the tribe in scuba gear? I'm sorry, but if he's gonna go fishing, give him the same gear that like they get on the show, maybe.
Yeah.
It was very interesting, and I didn't. No, sorry.
No, I'm with you. I think that, look, it's fine. I actually feel like I have seen online more people than I expected being like, oh no, I actually enjoyed this. I actually like got emotional watching this. I love Zac Brown. And like, like it's not a lot of people. Like, we're so ingrained in this community that I think most of the like super, super fans were not happy about this. Because you want to see the players. You want the episode time dedicated to watching the strategy, watching the players' relationships with each other. But I I can understand why for the casual audience, eh, I don't think anyone who's never seen Survivor was probably watching this episode just because they are a Zac Brown fan and want to see Zac Brown. Like that is such a minuscule percentage. But I do think that there's like a possibility that like there's casual Survivor fans who, may come in and out of the show and they're like, oh, Zac Brown, I'll watch that. So I get it. It was just too long. It was just too much. Cut it in like half or even just like three-fourths and it would have been better. But it was a lot.
Yeah, I know. I was
Yeah.
watching it a little bit delayed, and so I just fast forwarded his concert part because I was like, I'm over it.
You didn't miss anything. Yeah.
Also, like, I get they wanted to show him having a concert and playing the music as like the reward. Like, that was very sweet. I did it, like, that was cute. But he sang 2 songs and he was on for 30 minutes. And in those 30 minutes, you never saw the tribe going to tribal, like, talk once. And I was like, is the episode ending and we're just going to end on Zac Brown? Like, I was very confused for a minute.
Yeah. It just like it we had such an interesting vote this episode that I could have used another 5 minutes on that. And it just felt like, why did we spend so much time? Like I would have understood it if this was 49, no disrespect to 49, but the pre-merge was boring. It was slow. I think it would have been a lot better in an episode like that where you had a unanimous easy vote pretty much the entire pre-merge there. It's like, okay, I get it why they want to spend more time on Zac Brown during an episode like that. But this was such a good episode after that I'm like, why did we have to spend so much time when we had the content to not spend that much time on Zac Brown?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I was like, this can be sped up. Can we go 2x speed or something? Like it was like
Yeah.
it was just too much.
Yeah. But Callow ends up winning this challenge. Sela came in second, which sends Vatu back to tribal council. So Callow gets to the sanctuary while Zac Brown is out spearfishing, like we discussed. He brings them back fish and makes them a meal while performing with a guitar for them while they eat. Some of them like Colby was all emotional about it. Coach was all emotional about it. Like you got to see, it was nice moments that, like we said, could have been sped up. But I'm sure it was very nice for them while they were out there. I'm sure that was a very good reward that would have been great not being filmed.
It must have been really nice to have music out there.
Yeah. That's something you don't get very
No.
often on there. I
Right.
wonder if, like, because I know on Big Brother, like, they can't sing, obviously. Like, they get yelled at if they start singing copyrighted music. I wonder on Survivor, like, can they, like, if they have a fire, can they, like, sing? Because they know it won't air, but, like, they're not airing everything on live feed. So, like, are they allowed to sing when they're out there?
I would say yes. I don't see why not if it's not going to air and they're not, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I would think so too. But I guess it's also nice to have a singer, an actual singer singing. So still, that must be nice. And with a guitar that they don't have. But yeah, anyways, don't have to spend too much time dwelling on that because we have an interesting vote to get to here. So Ozzy continues to push for the vote to go on Angelina. However, Mike, who ironically enough Ozzy's trying to save here and work with closely, knows that Angelina is a number for him and wants to save her. So he goes up to Stephanie and pitches Emily Flippin for the vote tonight. Hope, what did you think about Mike's pitch here for Emily?
I thought it was a smart pitch as she's been very chaotic around camp and honestly everyone knows that. But she does have her alliance members who are very strong, or so it seems, where it was obvious she wasn't going to be the vote. To me, at least, I guess.
Yeah, Molly, do you think though that it should have that the others should have been more receptive to this?
I don't know. I feel like as of what we're seeing so far, like even though she is chaotic, like people do trust her. So it seems that like people just weren't gonna get on board for that. I mean, at first I was like maybe like I wasn't totally sure if like maybe we were just getting like a different edit than maybe people were feeling on the beach. So I was like, oh, maybe this is smart for Mike to go after her and like can actually rally people behind Emily, but I didn't really see it happening, especially because it was like also like the first person they brought up. So I was like, I feel like there's gonna be more that happens here. But I think with them going after Emily, like it did make sense because of how everyone's been reacting, or to her, not everyone, but like how people have just noticed her actions and sharing everything, and just the chaotic nature. But I think for Mike, like it made sense in this moment.
Yeah, I mean, Emily, I love watching Emily Flippin, first of all. I think that she would be such a good Real Housewife. This episode made me realize, the last two episodes have made me realize that, like, Emily Flippin is just so honest and can't help herself. Like, she can't keep a secret. And it's just, like, so perfect for a show like that. But unfortunately, sometimes we'll get you in trouble on a show like this. But I when Mike said that, I was like, oh my god, please do not let it be Emily Flippin tonight. We need her on this season. But I understand why that should be, in theory, an easy vote because she's betrayed everybody on the tribe at some point already, and they've only been together for a day. Like, this is a swap tribe that literally they got yesterday, and already Emily has somehow betrayed all of them. So it should be an easy vote, but you have to consider the fact that someone like Christian has a pre-game relationship with Emily, even though they've never played together. They play Clock Tower together all the time, and so like that's not going to be an easy task to get Christian to be on board to get out Emily this early. So I think that Mike probably underestimated that to a certain degree.
Yeah, no, I definitely think the Christian really saved Emily here in a way of like their relationship in terms of like if Emily didn't have Christian on this tribe, like I could have seen Emily for sure going home here. But I think because she had such a strong ally with Christian and he's obviously in a good spot on this tribe, that it mostly like people weren't gonna really be on board for that.
And Angelina also bonded with her last
Yeah.
week, if you remember. Like, they had a good moment. So that also probably did not help matters as well to get in the mission to get Emily out. But Mike, Christian, and Angelina are together in the water, and Mike informs Angelina that the vote is set to be on her, but he's trying to turn it on Emily. So, like we mentioned, like Christian is upset here because those are two of his closest allies, Angelina and Emily. So it's like, I don't want to vote out either of them. What do I do? Now, Molly, do you think that Christian, like, if he had to choose between the two of them, which way do you think he should have gone?
Oh, that's a hard one. I like them both. But I think for his game that it would have made more sense to get out Emily here just because they were like she kind of just betrayed him and like he's not totally sure what he can trust with her now with information. And I think just for his game and his like just the way that he's been playing, I think it would make sense if he were to choose Emily over Angelina.
Hmm. Yeah, Hope. I wonder how much of Christian's kind of decision here, that whether it's between the two of them or what he ends up doing, is considering the fact that he knows that probably continuing on this season, being in a trio may not be a great look for him. Do you think that that is something that he's considering here or should be considering here, that he probably needs to get rid of one of Angelina or Chris or Mike at some point in the near future to lower his threat level?
100%. I mean, Christian's a very smart player. He knows what he's doing. He knows where his threat level lies, but he also knows that being in a duo or a trio, like, is gonna, come back to bite you. And I think that potentially may have led to his decision. But at the end of the day, like, he was just doing what was best for him. And, like, that's what you have to do when you're out there playing Survivor.
Yeah. So Mike ends up telling Christian as they are talking that he is falling into the same trap with Emily that he did with Gabby Pescuzzi back on David versus Goliath. We get a little clip montage of Gabby and Christian, who of course was his number one back on his original season. And Christian gets emotional about this in his confessional, which I thought was so interesting that he's like, this was 7 years ago. And still, like, it's like, I've never cried about this before. And I mean, Molly, I thought this was such an interesting moment to see Christian get emotional about this, something that happened so long ago.
I know, and they were actually watching this episode together, so that
Yeah.
was cute to see pictures of them, videos of Gabby and Christian in real time now watching that. But I think obviously like they're also now that Christian they've been out there for a few days, like they're hungry, more emotional, I think, in a general sense of just being out there and Survivor. So I think that's also kind of brought up those emotions of just being out there and thinking back to last time he was playing and all of that. So, I mean, obviously, then also because Mike is good at tugging at the heartstrings there too. So, I think that had a part of it. But overall, like it was an emotional moment, and seeing that was interesting to see.
Hmm. Yeah, Hope. And now, instead of this causing Christian to turn on Emily, it actually kind of gets him to realize that he needs to turn on Mike. And I thought that was such an interesting thing too, that Mike was kind of trying to tug on the heartstrings a little bit and get Christian to realize one thing, and it actually got him to realize a totally different thing.
Like I said before, Christian's smart. He realized what Mike was doing, and he realized that down the line that could be threatening, that could be a threat, that will be a threat. And he when that happened, his mind started rolling and turning, and he realized that Mike might be the person to get out this time, because if he could do that to Christian now and make him that upset and cry, he could do that to him or someone else again in the future.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that it's so interesting because it felt like Christian, if you think back to David versus Goliath, like Mike was gunning for Christian for a long time on that season. And I think that when he started to think back to that season, it was like, yeah, I was hurt by Gabby. But really it's like when he probably like thought more about that season, it's like, oh my God, I Mike is probably going to try to do the same thing to me this season that he did on that season. And unfortunately, yeah, Christian is smarter than maybe Mike gave him credit for in this moment, and it got him to really think more about it than probably Mike wanted him to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I know that was interesting to see Christian's spin on that, but it's because Christian's so smart.
Hmm. But I think the real question here is this a good move for Christian to get out Mike? Or should he have let it fall on Emily because Emily is a liability to him, as he has seen evidence of the last couple of days out there since they've swapped tribes? Hope, do you think that this was a better move to get out Mike, or should he have stuck it on Emily?
You see, if he has like as strong of a bond with Emily as he's saying he does, I think it makes more sense to get out Mike, because then he still has his duo with Angelina, but they're not a trio anymore, so they're not as threatening, or they don't look as threatening, I guess. Especially come merge, if there's three of them, they're going to be an automatic target. So I do think it was a smart move on his part, but it could have gone either way.
Hmm. Yeah, Molly, what do you think?
Yeah, I also agree. I think of like in general, just Christian, or I mean, I don't know how long. At this point, I'm like, oh, Christian's gonna make it far, but now I'm like, oh, because he's making these moves, like I don't know how far he's gonna actually make it. And so I'm getting nervous for his game here, but I think in this moment, like, yeah, it makes sense, but maybe because like he just really saw Mike's potential to really go far as well. So he was like, okay, well, Mike is a big threat here, so I got to get him out now while I can and have the numbers too, versus waiting on, and then maybe he would be the lone one in the trio to get targeted. So I think that it made sense here for him.
Yeah, I don't know. I go back and forth with it because I think that it's yes, it's going to be harder to get out Mike later on than it will to get out Emily. Like I do think that's probably a true statement. But and I think it's good to get out of the trio. I think that's probably a good move, you know. So there's twofold that I think that is good. But Emily is such a liability. Like I said, like she just like I don't know how Christian can continue to trust her with any information because she has proven time and time again, and she does again later on that we'll get to in a second. That it's just like, oh my god, Emily, what are you doing? And it's like I think that she is just such a reactionary player that like it's like her feelings get hurt and she's gonna just go run and tell someone something, and it's like how do you trust someone like that? And I just don't know. Like Mike is just such a calmer, more steady ally. I feel like for the next few weeks, and I think Mike probably would, you know, be very willing to turn on Christian eventually. But it's just like I don't know how you trust Emily after everything she's done the last couple days.
Yeah.
I
I don't know.
feel like he still trusts her, which is kind of crazy to me. Like I do think he'd have to take her with like a grain of salt and like tell her some things, but not everything at this point. But he still seems to be super trusting her and telling her everything, which yeah, is interesting.
Which I think again comes back to this his kind of pregame relationship with her that I think he just like that is stuck in his mind that it's like this is somebody I know outside of this game. And with Mike, like I don't know how much they've kept in touch. Like, yeah, they played together, but he was gunning for him most of that season. And yes, they like, you know, he had a small cameo on White Lotus. So obviously they have like, you know, a certain relationship outside, but he's probably closer with Emily. Like, so I think that's probably also playing into that quite a bit as well.
Yeah.
But so Christian tells everyone about his plan, but he intentionally leaves out Ozzy because he knows that Ozzy wants to work with Mike. He knows he wants that cameo. But so he is the one person that's being left out of that. But while Christian and Emily are sitting at the shelter, Ozzy walks up and Emily blurts out that Mike is turning the vote on her. And Christian is just like, what are you doing? Why would you say this? The first thing, that was the one thing. You had one job. And she just runs and blurts out to that to Ozzy. But thankfully, it seems to be fine. Ozzy's like, no, the plane's still Angelina. And she's like, yeah. So it seems to be okay, but I think it's just another example of Emily just kind of like her mouth working against them.
Yeah, and it was funny to see then when Christian was behind Ozzy and like being like, be quiet, like don't say anything. That was a funny moment.
Well, then we do get to tribal, and Mike is voted out in a 3-2 to 1 vote. It's 2 votes on Emily, 1 vote on Angelina. And Hope, were you surprised to see that Mike actually ends up going home here? Or were you expecting anything else to happen?
I was not surprised. I figured when they made that 3-2 to 1 vote, when they were talking about it, that it was going to happen. I mean, I knew there was an off chance that something could happen. I mean, it's Survivor and they don't show us everything. So I knew there was like a chance that the vote could have changed or the plan could have changed. But honestly, I had a gut feeling that Mike was going home.
Mm-hmm. Molly, what do you think about the fact that Angelina was left out of this vote? Because clearly that is someone who Christian was also working very closely with. I know that she probably thought she would not be willing to go against Mike here, but do you think that that's going to come back to hurt Christian at all?
I think so. I mean, not having information with someone you thought was an ally, like that's obviously gonna sting for Angelina's perspective of knowing like, oh, she wasn't part of that vote and like she wasn't someone that Christian thought he could trust in that and like wanting to vote with him. But obviously I think it was for the right reasons too, because she is so close to Mike that she wouldn't have flipped. So then Christian probably was worried that the information would then get back to Mike and then the whole plan wouldn't work. So I think for how it had to be executed, it made sense. So I'm hoping Angelina won't take it too harsh on her, like, or just like thinking of it overall, the her relationship with Christian, but I do think it's going to have a little bit of a hiccup there.
Hmm. Yeah, I think coming out of this episode, like the biggest question for me are like, what are Christian's prospects here after this? Did Christian, he made this big move. Is it going to come back to bite him if they do go to tribal next episode? Which, we'll talk about it, but we know it's a double tribal. So it's pretty likely that they're going to go back to tribal next episode, more likely than not. Did Christian put himself in a bad situation where he didn't fill in a couple of people on this vote, and is that going to make him seem untrustworthy? What do you think, Hope?
I mean, I know he was pissed, and like Christian tried to be like, I'll fill you in, and he was like, no, like I don't want to talk to, like it's too late type of thing. So I know Ozzy is like he's livid. Like I think that'll break their trust. I think they're done. I think there's a chance, like because Angelina was kind of the glue between Mike and Christian, I'd say. So I feel like if Christian explains it in a certain way, like Angelina could be forgiving, but I think she would forgive but not forget.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, as she should. I mean, that's the right thing to do when you're betrayed in this game, is to be like, make it seem to your face that I forgive you and I'm not going to be holding it against you in the future. But in the back of my mind, I'm not going to forget that you did that to me, and I'm going to always have an eye out watching you. So I will be very curious to see how this plays out in next episode. But like I mentioned, it is a double tribal. So we are going to have finally a tribe other than the Vatu tribe going to tribal here from the swapped tribe. So Molly, we'll start with you. What are your predictions? Which two tribes do you think are going to tribal, and who do we think from each of those is going to be in trouble?
I think Sela would be the other tribe besides Vatu going, just because I mean Kahlo has all of the strong people. They have Cho, Coach, Colby. Like I feel like they just can't go to tribal at this point.
Okay, but
So
Jonathan counts as like six people.
yeah, I guess that's true. Like I do think, especially with if there was like a hard puzzle and Camilla's great at puzzles, like maybe Sela could make it. But if I'm gonna go with Sela and Batu going, I think first from Sela tribe, then I think Rizzo's going to be in trouble, but then maybe he'll use the idol. So then there could be someone else that gets blindsided there. I'm not sure who, but maybe like that would be an interesting one. I don't want to see like anyone on that tribe. Or I could see, I mean, they wouldn't get out Jonathan probably because they need the strength, but I could see Jonathan maybe being a target. But then on Batu, I'm worried for Christian, but I want it to be Stephanie on that tribe just because like I don't know, out of all the people there, I'd rather see Stephanie go.
I think you're not
So
alone in that.
those are my predictions based on what I think and hope maybe could happen.
Hope, what do you think?
I'm really bad at knowing who's on what tribe.
Okay, so
To be
you want me to
honest,
list? I can list it for you.
yes. Oh my god, that would be great.
Okay, so Sela is Charlie, Rick, Sari, Camilla, Dee, Rizzo, and Jonathan. Callow, that's the blue tribe.
Mhm.
Aubrey, Colby, Tiffany, Chrissy, Joe, Genevieve, and Coach. And then Vatu is the one that we spent most time with: Emily, Christian, Angelina, Stephanie, and Ozzy.
So I mean, I feel like I'd have to agree that like Sela and Vatu will probably go back to tribal council, or well, Vatu will definitely go back to tribal council. There's no question. Sorry,
Yeah.
but I feel like Sela will probably be the other one because, like Molly said, Kahlo has so much strength. So it's like, how do you lose it? I mean, whatever. I can't use my words right now. But, but I do think on Vatu, who would go home, like honestly, I feel like it could be very up in the air. Like Stephanie was left out of one of the votes, but not left out, but she casted the wrong vote and this, that, whatever. So I definitely think it could be a possibility she'd go home. I don't know if she has like super strong allies or anything compared to everyone else on that tribe. On Sela, I don't know, like Rizzo, I feel like he would be the vote. I don't know if he would feel like he'd have to play his idol though. So I feel like there's a possibility if he
Yeah.
did go, like he would leave with the idol in his pocket and go back to Genevieve.
Yeah.
As much as I do like Rizzo, I hope that Genevieve gets at least one of those idols back. She deserves it. So I would not be too upset with that happening, just because I feel like at least that would be karmic justice for Genevieve to get something out of her finding two of those. But yeah, I agree. I think that it's probably Kalos going to continue their victory streak and win. That just feels the most likely. But if Kalo does go to tribal, I fear for Genevieve. I do, because I think that Aubrey has her idol and she has Tiffany on her side as an ally. I don't know exactly like where the others besides Colby obviously is aligned with Genevieve. Maybe Colby's relationship with Joe and Coach would kind of make them go on the Genevieve side of things as well. But then maybe they vote for Aubrey. Aubrey uses her idol, and then Aubrey and Tiffany are in control of that vote and they get out Genevieve. Like, I could easily see that happening. So that worries me a little bit. But for Sela, yeah, I agree that I think Rizzo is probably in the most danger. I feel like we've just seen so much with Charlie and his vendetta against Rizzo that unless Rizzo uses his idol, I could easily see them all just kind of be like, he's too much of a mystery factor that we haven't seen this season. Easy vote there. And then on Vatu, yeah, I agree that I hope it's Stephanie, but I don't know. I worry about Christian now. I just feel like but I could see it being Emily too. I don't know. I think that's a toss up. But I think that Christian probably burned a lot of bridges with that last vote, so that worries me a little bit. Yeah. But okay, well, those are our predictions. Now, Hope, our last segment here that we do with all our guests this year in 2026. So last year we held our first Chatty Award ceremony, where we honored the best of reality shows and players and cast members from 2025. So this year we will be doing that again, but we are adding a guest choice nomination. So every guest that we have, we are asking to nominate someone who so far in 2026 has been your favorite person to watch. So do you have, it can be from Survivor, it can be from any other reality show that you've watched in 2026 so far. Do you have anyone that you would like to nominate?
I don't want to be basic. That's the problem. Like, I feel like I'd pick someone from Traders. Okay. I'm kind of between like Rob or Lisa. Rob Roush, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know why.
Both of those are great.
Those are both
both
good
really good choices.
Yeah.
I don't know. Pick one for me.
That's hard. I don't think either of them have been nominated yet, right, Molly?
Yeah, neither of them have.
So it would be the first for either.
Okay.
Do you have a favorite of the two?
I don't.
No, I'm happy with either.
Yeah. Do you guys have a pick?
Oh, this is your pick. We will decide between the nominations. Okay.
I'll go with Rob.
We will decide. Okay.
Rob.
Our winner. Good choice.
Our winner. Yeah.
Yes. Good choice. I think he absolutely deserves to be there. So I'm happy that he is there now. Well, Hope, thank you so much for joining us today. This was so much fun to get all of your Survivor 50 thoughts. Do you have anything? Where can our listeners find you on social media? And anything you want to plug?
I don't have much to plug. My @ on everything is just my first name, last name, HopeRaifer. Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
Good. Awesome. Well, thank you for listening or watching on YouTube. We will be back next week with more Survivor 50, of course, our double tribal. Excited for that. And be sure to find us on all social media at Let's Chat Reality. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and we will chat with you all later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.